welcome to another episode of Who Gives a Hoot. I'm Luke. That's John. That's John, or that's John. Braden, Kyle. We're all here. And we're sitting 2 points from clinching the league in regular season. So pretty good time to be a Buo. We'll say helped by a red card. Yeah. Were we helped by that red card, or just kind of surprising that it was their first card of the game for a player on the pitch?
Was that their first? I thought that was maybe their second card.
So going
had to have
back
been
to
second
one,
card because it was second yellow.
But
it was a second yellow.
So he had gotten the card earlier.
No, it was a second yellow.
It was a second yellow.
Okay, Thought Mob lied to me then.
Okay. And I think you could have the discussion of whether or not it was deserved if all you relied on was the broadcast footage, because there was never really a good look at it.
I will say from my seat, it was deserved. It was a last back sort of unnecessary tackle on it.
I kind of disagree, because looking at the replays from different angles, are we talking about specifically with like Misael getting the penalty on that? Because that was like,
that wasn't Misael, that was Pedro.
That was Pedro?
Pedro drew it, right?
Pedro took
I'm pretty sure Misael drew it.
Yeah, Misael drew it.
All I know is that maybe it's hard to gauge it because the tackle on Steven before it looked worse. It looked worse, but Steven knew where the ball was and didn't get the call right away, so he stood up right away to fight it. So it's not typical circumstances for a foul like that.
Yeah.
I will say, I think this ref was a little card light in the first half and card heavy in the second half.
Yeah, but the card light in the first half seemed to be fair. Lexington defended very, very well in the first half. They sniffed out all of our best efforts in the first half, and that's why we had all those corner kicks.
There were a lot of persistent infringements. There were a lot of fouls called persistent infringement, and the way he was calling it in the second half, consistently pointing out where on the field the different infringements were happening, definitely seemed. And this is, I think, as close as I'm going to get to a referent this season, because to me, the carding for persistent infringement on our players in the second half and the lack of cards for persistent infringement on their players in the first was just egregious.
There were definitely more whistles in the second half, and it ruined the flow of the game.
Yeah.
That always is at a disadvantage to us.
Yeah.
Not the fact that there's more whistles on us versus against us or whatever. We need the flow of play to run.
Yeah.
So another question pertaining to the red card. Since Tucson, has there been a team who's gotten a red card at Werner Park that has not won?
Hold on a second. Rephrase that.
So Tucson in 21 got a red card in the semifinal. And since then, I feel like every team that has gotten a red card at Werner Park, the team that received the red card has won. Chat.
We beat a 10-man Madison the year after that. We played horribly for being up a man, but we did beat them. Wait, or am I thinking? No,
I don't think we were up a man. I think that's the game where both of us got a red card. There was one game in there. It's either Madison or Chat where both teams got a red card, and then we ended up either winning that one as well.
We did get a red card against NoCo earlier in the season where we did lose.
That's true. We had a 1-0 lead. Misa got a red card, straight red card late in the first half.
Well, he's saying that the other team got a red card and then lost. because generally in Werner Park you can just kind of bunker and be able to withstand it.
Well, it almost has seemed like it's been an advantage to play at Werner Park with 10 men versus 11.
I mean,
and I think, if we hadn't been awarded the penalty when the red was given, I'm not sure we would have pulled off a win there.
Yeah, I don't know. I did want to go back to your
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I want to go back to your fouls comment, because this was something that I had been wanting to pay attention to in the game as well, because Lexington is by far the leader in fouls per game between the two of us, because we, with every other team in our games between every other team, have about 29 or less fouls per game combined. Lexington is 35.
Yes.
Tucson was 41. So they're still a step down from Tucson, but it's still pretty ridiculous just at the rate of fouls. Because we've played them 4 times. We have the same number of fouls so we have 71 fouls and Lexington has 69 fouls in those 4 games. Nice. One knock. We have 71 fouls and they have 68 fouls in 5 games. So we played one more game against One Knocks and the exact same number of fouls as Lexington. It's wild.
Well, don't worry. Lexington's getting promoted, so we don't have to deal with them next year.
Fair point.
It's always nice when you can get promoted from the relegation zone.
The wonders of American capitalism.
It's not even capitalist, though. Anyway.
So yeah. I will say their goal was brilliant. I think it could have been avoided if we didn't have 2 defenders on yellows. Jerome got beat thoroughly. Luca sitting there on a yellow, and a strong challenge, I think, would have stopped that. But we played a little too much to space, and it was just a quick in, and just nothing Fido could have saved. Like it was a hell of a goal. That if defensively we were lacking, but that to me was goal of the week.
It was a nice goal, but I think we could have played better, because Mishak was not on a yellow.
He was not on a yellow, but he just got beat.
He could have taken one.
He tried to.
He
had a hand on the guy's back, and
three paces
the ref
behind.
The ref let it go.
Yeah, like Mishak was like 3 paces behind when he took the turn in, and there was no way of him catching. He just was way outpaced there. But the savior, we've already talked about the red card that resulted in a penalty following there to level it up. Pedro buried that back of the net, right in front of the fans. Great reaction. Good display of smoke. A very solid crowd overall for this game. But the game winner in, what was it, the 95th minute is what 95th. It was credited to?
Yep. Plus 5.
So we didn't broadcast the team talk because we're getting close to the end of the season. Players generally are a little bit more loose-lipped than administrators or coaches. Sorry, we've been trying to broadcast all of them, but for protecting the team planning, we opted not to for this one, and we will not be for the upcoming one as well with our goalkeepers. But Luca, after being egged on a little bit because Marco talking about his goals this season, Luca called it out that he was going to score in this game, and then that beautiful cross in to just give him that opportunity to head that home and take the 3 points there. I don't think anybody was expecting us to really come ahead at that point. But Luka gets his first goal of the season, and it was just first goal for the club.
Yep, yes. First goal for the club.
Yeah, he scored for Tucson when he played there, but
he had a few.
Yeah, so first goal for the club and a game winner at that in a game that mattered. We're now 2 points after that win, 2 points from clinching the regular season, so we could theoretically draw both games remaining in the regular season and still win the what are they calling it? The Players' Shield.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. For those of you listening, we had an extra attendee on the podcast for a moment. Yes, 2 points. No matter what happens, we win the Shield.
And that means we either win against Tormenta, or if Madison drops any points at all, so if they don't win against One Knox, that would secure it. Otherwise, it goes into the last week.
Yeah. The only reason, the only way we don't clinch this week is if Madison wins and we don't. Doesn't mean we lose anything, but if Madison wins and we don't, it goes to the final game.
So Madison can't catch us on wins.
No.
Nope.
Correct. So if we lose this weekend, Madison's still in it technically.
Yes.
Unless they don't win.
Yeah.
Unless they don't win.
Yeah, because it's 4 points, right? So if we lose and they don't pick up the 3 points, they're still going to be outside of it. So
yeah.
And I believe, what else? Like, what are the other scenarios? Like, if we drop like 1 point, is there any way like Madison could like catch us otherwise? Like, I feel like it's a little tight there too.
Our points magic number is 2. It's points we earn as well as points they drop.
Okay.
Yeah. So if they win and we only get a point, then we have a 2 point lead heading into the final weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. Needless to say, we always cheer against Madison, but we are extra cheering against Madison this weekend. So it doesn't matter for us, hopefully. But we're hoping for a win against a frankly sad Tormenta side.
Yeah.
But
I'm really disappointed for them against Richmond. They went up 2-0 on Richmond and then let Richmond come back right at the end.
I watched that match too. They looked good in the first half, and then it just went away in the final 10 minutes right there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them this season. There definitely seems to be they're a far cry from the Tormenta that won the league. What was that, 2 years ago now?
2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't want them to win this, but I hope they can turn things around down there.
Yeah.
Going into next year with, what do we figure, 6 expansion teams coming into the league?
Yep.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something. I think there might be technically 7 listed, but only 6 is what my guess would be right now. But we'll see.
So Saturday is a big game. We win, we clinch the league. A few of us traveled to Madison last year when we clinched the league, and that's a hell of a time getting to celebrate with the players. Sounds like Gary is going to be in attendance in Tormenta. So do we think everyone travels for this, healthy or not?
I don't see why not. Like, give the team like their moments. I have it on decent authority that they're gonna bring out all the stops for the possible celebration.
Okay.
What that looks like, I have no idea.
Bringing the 23 player shield to celebrate the 24 player shield.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's interesting because I mean we we have next weekend at home to celebrate it, with the team too.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it's almost if we end up winning, of course.
Yeah.
If it ends up being a celebration.
I just feel kind of bad because there's a Georgia Southern game. There's apparently the end of the county fair, as well as a concert going on that night in Statesboro. So I don't think it's going to be very well attended.
So the two Union Omaha fans going down are going to be the loudest people in the stadium?
I mean, they already were beforehand, but...
Okay.
But what about the pile of dirt on the one side?
That pile of dirt has a lot more dirt there. I can guarantee that. So,
Kyle, don't you know Publixes are organic, happenings?
They just sprout out of the ground right there.
We have to wait for the Publix to germinate.
Well, considering who we know to be healthy, Marco, it sounds like, was a game day decision not to even be on the bench this past week. We think, considering he seemed like a game day decision then, he may travel. Doubtful he gets a start after coming off of an injury, but travel and at least be on the bench.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if he's not on the squad, though. But Aaron, he's probably going to be back because he served his suspension.
I would guess he's still suspended.
Really?
Because he had a 2 yellow card game. The first yellow card was his yellow card limit. So if he had nothing else happen that game, that's a 1-game suspension. But he got a second yellow card in the same game right away. That's a red card suspension. We haven't heard from anybody, and we haven't seen any announcement from the league, but my guess is that he's suspended again.
Maybe.
If only it was in writing. Please, someone put it in writing. Even if it's just a paper on Twitter, please, just something.
Send a letter to Braden. I'm sure you can find his address somewhere online. He is Gen Z? He's Gen Z, so his entire existence is online.
No, not my entire existence. Just
search in the University of Nebraska at Omaha student directory.
I mean, that's one way to find me. Don't find me.
I don't. It's not going to list addresses in there.
No, it'll definitely list at least my email. So
maybe let's not. University of Nebraska, Omaha. Attention, Braden Johnson. And
maybe let's not. Maybe let's not list ways. Maybe let's not list ways to find the 3 of us that live in a swing district in an election year.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not for another few weeks.
All I'm going to say is that I'm not going to see it because I don't open my school email. So,
yeah, a swing district that actually might matter too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Lineup wise, assuming Aaron's back, I definitely see him starting. We won't know until that letter arrives at UNO for Braden.
I think the back line's the same, especially with questions on Marco. I think we still see our back 3. We still see Akoff, Austin, ideally, but we'll see with Dion, I guess.
That's what I was gonna say. I would I think it's safe. I think it's safe to guess Dion not starting versus starting. Just because he came off the first half. That's all you know. But coming off the first half, it's not a good sign. I would imagine that.
Yeah,
that's fair.
When you say it's the same 5, it's the same 5 when Jiba subbed on and Jiba plays on the right. Because I think they prefer Charlie to play on the left. Yeah. If only one of them can.
Yeah. I think
Jiba
did very well.
I feel so bad for him because
he's playing out of position. But
when you come on as a sub for an injury and then get subbed off for a tactical change, that sucks. It always sucks when you sub on and get subbed off, no matter what the reasons. So, I mean, I hope to see him this weekend, if Dion's not ready, So,
yeah,
hopefully he's doing good.
So, Ostrom and Jiba, we can see out there. I liked Lagos and Pedro on.
I keep coming back to my thoughts on Lagos from earlier in the season. Is that I love him, but I love him off the bench.
Better off the bench too. If Steven's going to play 90, he's better off the bench as well, because Steven DeSantos demands you put that body on him, and that is one less defender in traffic for Lagos to have to move around.
Yeah.
Because I thought Lagos, at least in the Lexington game, I thought his dribbling, which has been, one of the big highlights this year for him, wasn't quite there. And I don't know if it was just because Lexington was, playing it a bit better, or because it was him just starting the game and playing the whole game. But I don't know.
At some point in the season, Lagos got unselfish. And he needed to be more selfish this past game. Like, there were a few times where he opened up good opportunity for him to shoot, and he's done this past few games he's been in. Has a great opportunity to shoot, but is looking for the pass.
I think that was a stretch for the whole team, though. I remember what you're talking about. It was kind of like that late May, early June stretch. Everybody was trying to make that one more pass instead of putting the ball on target.
Well, Lagos, beginning part of the season, was taking just stupid shots left and right. Like, he was dribbling through, taking a stupid shot, where he had no chance at it. And then he started making that extra pass. And I think he's been sticking to it a little bit too much in times where he should be selfish. His dribbling is still fantastic. Some of the leagues figured it out, and he gets two guys marking him. But he's still very dangerous. I think just a little bit more selfish from him, and we'd see the defense open up a lot more. And I think that's something we could really use against Tormenta.
I will say, though, first half, we did not have Steven on. It was Lagos and Pedro up top, probably just outdoing it, whatever. Obviously, I would prefer Lagos as a winger because he likes to come in on that. He's very good at that. Pedro, he's a midfielder. Yep. He distributes. He's a typical false nine. I would prefer we have Steven up front, because once we got him on, it seemed like we were a lot gelling better. Like, we understood the assignment better, because that's what we've been doing all year.
Although Pedro,
Steven being on allows guys to play their intended positions. Whenever Steven's off, everybody has to play a position that is not their natural position.
Yeah. I obviously, with Aaron not on there as serving as the Steven in the aggregate, as they say, it wasn't bad. It just didn't work out as well. At the same time, we were very good. Our stats were good. We had good possession throughout the game. Our first half possession, I think, was a little bit better than our second. But at the same time, this was against Lexington. They're going to bunker back. They're going to be defensive and try and hit us on the counter, which they did.
Yep.
And that was just the game itself. That's how we played it. And wasn't bad, just wasn't our best.
All right. I'm going to ask, going into Tormenta this weekend, a chance to clinch the league. All of you put yourself in your Coach Dom mindset. What are your keys to the game?
Look to play as wide open as you can. I think Tormenta, their style of play allows for that. You don't have to necessarily, move the ball just a little forward, wait, find the next pass, ball a little forward, wait and find the next pass. Bomb the ball deep and see what happens. I think this is the one game where we can really try to do that.
Yeah, that kind of meshes well with my thought, which is use those overlapping wingers, because that's something we really like to do anyway. And if we can bomb it over the top, we'll probably get a lot of runs behind the back from Ostrom or Jipa or whoever ends up being in there. but then we still need to get a good cross or a good play to the middle, because that's where sometimes we can struggle with that cross. So make sure that we do that final ball, do that kind of final third play a little bit better.
We seem to play better with the low crosses, don't we? At least in the run of play.
Sometimes, yeah. Maybe unless Steven's in, like Steven can win a header, and like sometimes Pedro can win a header, but we don't have JP anymore who could just always win that header. So it's a little bit harder, I think.
I don't know. I feel like Charlie's pretty good. Like he's not a very tall guy, but Charlie definitely wins him. Like I feel like we can at least turn him into that. But
I'm just thinking he's not playing centrally. At least he's either the one delivering the cross or he's on the
half the time it's going to come from his side of the pitch.
My key to the game would probably just play like you're the best team in the league at this point. We got Tormenta, and then we have Fuego at home. I think we're the best team in the league. Clearly, we're the best team in the league so far. Let's just go win it.
Tell Blake to cover Luca's back. We don't need Luca getting a card in this game in case the game against Fuego matters.
On the plus side, though, yellow cards reset at the end of the season, so playoffs it's a blank sheet, so we're good there.
Okay.
Gosh, with eight of the 12 teams being in playoffs, it's the least they could do.
I believe red card suspensions are self-served.
Yes.
But yellow card suspensions aren't served. So if someone gets their 8th yellow card in the last game of the season, they won't need a service suspension.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna to go control the midfield. No, that's 100% the key to the game. Will be, but the standard Mims tactic, just control the midfield.
Man, do we look so different than now under Dom than we did under Jay? Like it is so different. Under Jay, it was like, okay, we bunker, we try and get a goal, we focus on defense. Under Dom, it's like, can we go score? Maybe
let's
4?
wait for
Okay,
let's wait for 2024 postmortem to get all nostalgic.
Yeah.
All right. Not going to do score predictions for this, but are you feeling good about the game this weekend?
Yeah.
I will repeat my Tormenta stat that I hope continues to be true. We have never lost to Tormenta. Knock on wood. Yeah.
John, you feeling good?
I feel as good as I could going into a game of such importance. It's, for me, it's natural to be fucking terrified, but I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel better knowing that Fuego is the last game.
Yeah, that helps.
Fuego is not eliminated.
Yeah, they are not mathematically.
Technically not.
Anybody is.
Well, Fuego's 6 points off, so they would need to win both games and I think have a goal difference swing or some crap. Yeah. But technically not yet.
Richmond go to hold on. Richmond and host Chattanooga and then host Charlotte.
Yeah. So
Could be an interesting one.
A big game.
Yeah, Richmond Chattanooga is gonna be like 8th place slap fight.
Oh. I will say though, like with last year, like it was very similar scenario. Away day before we clinch. I myself was getting like psyched for the entire week, just to go watch it. And I'm like, oh boy, hopefully everything goes well.
Very different vibes. Madison was playing well. We didn't have a game after that. That was a terrifying day.
Yeah, but the thing is that this time around,
it's a terrifying week.
Yeah, I feel a lot better, and I feel that like this is probably the best way we could do it. Get a little extra rest, probably rotate the squad final match, provided everything is well. But things usually go well. I will say that. And most of the time, when you are ahead on points, typically in a league scenario, if you're the best team at this point, you're probably going to finish out as the best team in the league. So,
yeah. Well, speaking of potentially resting people the last game of the season, I mean, if we can clinch, that's because we have a game immediately after that because there's no buys anymore.
Yep.
Nope. November 3rd at Werner Park. Tickets on sale now against TBD.
Sunday at 4.
So early game on a Sunday in November. Hopefully the weather's not too terrible then. But as you mentioned,
4 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. As you mentioned, there's no bye week. It's a Sunday, so you're not competing against the Huskers. So should be a good one to get out there for. As usual, tickets are a little bit more expensive than they are during regular season for some reason. But we have a guaranteed playoff game at home following last regular season. So if we get through it, we will have 3 home games, one after the other, first 3 weekends in November. So definitely, if you haven't been out to a game recently, great opportunities to get there, great opportunities to bring some friends for some playoff soccer. And I mean, these boys have put everything on the line for the club this year. So least you can do is get out there, cheer them on, buy some tickets, stare at some merch that won't be discounted. They'll probably mark it up for the playoffs. Have yourself a corn dog and coffee, which is only served at Hot Dog Nation.
They might do more. They did like hot chocolate stands or something other times when we've had cold games before.
Oh, I guess they have that. Was it Merlin Cypress? Had a little spot there, so they might have multiple coffee spots. Those November games are definitely ones where you want to have either hot chocolate or coffee or something just warm.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, am I missing anything? No.
Nothing that we can't talk about later.
I think watch party at Cross Strain this week.
Yep, watch party at Cross Strain. We're getting pizza catering.
Shield winning. Yep.
Yeah. So get down to Cross Strain Millwork to watch. It's what, 6:30 kick Central Time.
6:30.
Because Madison plays half an hour before us, so we might know the answer before the end of the game.
Yeah,
so that is true.
See.
All right. Well, I got one question for you guys. Who gives a hoot?
We
do.